Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Rebecca Jaycox is on the phone. She is an author. Her book is called The Other Inheritance. It's described as a fantasy novel for young readers. I enjoyed it. I don't know that I'd be considered young, but I'm okay with that. Do you know, it reminded me of something, too, when I was a kid. Do you remember dissecting frogs in class?
Oh, yeah, we dissected frogs and worms, pigs.
There was a class I had in school, and we dissected cows' eyes.
Oh.
Did you ever dissect the cow's eyes?
No.
And the cow's eyes came in a bucket of formaldehyde.
Okay.
And the biology teacher had one leg. And I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. And he accidentally tripped and kicked over the bucket of cow's eyes, and formaldehyde went everywhere.
Oh, my God.
And to this day, I can smell in my mind that smell.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
There's a part of this book that kind of brought me back to that. So this crazy thing to bring back up. Rebecca Jaycox taught English at a high school in France. Wow.
That is cool.
She's a journalist, the curator and program director of the Young Adult Literature Series at the 92nd Street Y, one of New York's premier cultural centers. And let's say good morning to Rebecca. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning.
Where are you?
I'm at work.
Where do you work?
Having this conversation with you at the 92nd Street Y.
Oh, that's where you work. Okay.
Yeah.
And what Y means YMCA? Is that what that means?
No, it doesn't.
What does it mean?
It's not a YMCA. It's called the Young Hebrews Men and Women's Association.
Oh, okay.
I get that all the time. Do you work at a YMCA? Nope.
Well, it's the Y. People call the YMCA the Y. Yeah, I know we have a short interview with you, so tell us about the story, The Other Inheritance.
Well, it's a story about a 17-year-old girl named Reggie. Her mom is an alcoholic. Her father went missing when she was young, and she discovers that she has powers in biology class when she accidentally brings a frog back to life, and it sort of sends her life into a tailspin, so to speak, and she realizes that everything she thought she knew about herself isn't true. So, and I hope none of your cow's eyes accidentally started staring at you and moving around. That would have been disturbing.
But do you remember, if you ever had one of those classes, remember you had to make the frog ribbit, remember? You had to take a straw.
Yeah.
Did you do this?
No, I know.
Yeah, right.
Did you do that, Rebecca? Did you make the frog ribbit?
I'm going to be honest. I had my lab partner do the dirty work.
Okay.
I just couldn't handle it.
It's a guy thing. That's what it is.
Well, yeah, I remember you blew into it. You could blow into the ribbit maker. So she's got these magical powers. Is this a continuing character? Will we see her some more?
We will. I'm in the middle of writing the second book.
And
so her story definitely continues.
Is it fun writing a fantasy like that, where somebody can do things like that? And what other things can she do?
It's really fun because, you know, I always wanted to be cool when I was that age, so I got to sort of live vicariously through her. So that's always good. And she can do other things. So she has elemental powers, is what she finds out, that she can control, I guess, what's like the classic Greek elements: earth, air, water, and fire.
I love your personal history because we were told that you grew up around the Mark Twain National Forest, and that's sort of your inspiration. It seems like his spirit must be living there.
Right. Yeah, it was a big inspiration. You know, I was an only kid, and I had 20 acres of forest behind me, and so, you know, you have to imagine things or be really bored. So.
Wow. So is Rebecca Jaycox your real name?
Yes, that's my maiden name.
Oh, okay.
I've recently gotten married, but I kept my maiden name to write.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations.
And so what do you draw from when you write? Is writing something you've always done?
Yes, I started my grandmother had one of those really old typewriters, so I started, like I was really young, I started trying to write stories on it. I didn't get very far, but I did. I tried, and I became like obsessed with Star Wars at like age 10. Mm-hmm. So I was convinced I was gonna, write this big epic saga. So that's something I always wanted to do.
Oh, wow. Isn't that interesting? See, I've often wondered when somebody has a prequel, was that part of the plan all along, or was that like an afterthought? And that doesn't apply to you yet, I suppose, but...
I think that when you start creating something and you're making a whole world in your head, I think you do think about those things. Obviously, I know the whole story of what happened before, Reggie's story starts, because you have to. There has to be a past before you can deal with the present. So I don't know if I'd ever write about it, but it's definitely in my head.
Were you able? Did you draw on anything when you wrote the book about alcoholism? Were you close to someone who was an alcoholic?
I sort of based Reggie on one of my friends in high school. Her situation was very similar to Reggie's, as in her mother was depressed and, just drank a lot and took antidepressants. And I sort of, took her situation and based that part of Reggie on her, just of what I observed, throughout our friendship from, middle school to high school. So, it's definitely from real life. It's not exactly from, my family, but it was from a close observation of a good friend.
So when somebody has a talent, whether it's a talent that we recognize as a talent or something supernatural that's only in a fantasy book, either way, you'll have somebody else trying to benefit or take advantage of or make money from that. Does that happen to Reggie at all? Are people trying to persuade her to use her magic in a way, or her powers, her skills, her talents in a way that she doesn't feel is ethical? Or
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. The bad guy in the story is definitely after her. He wants to sort of merge their magic and do all different kinds of bad things with it. And she has a huge struggle with him and a big fight. It's a big climactic fight in the book. But what's also interesting, Reggie doesn't have a lot of control over what she can do yet, and so she causes a few accidental deaths, and she has to live with that because, those powers have consequences, and she has to live with, what she's done and what she can do and what she should do with her magic and her talent.
So were you able to kind of outline this before you got started, or will new powers come to mind and to Reggie later on that you're not even thinking about right now?
There's two types of writers. There's usually the outliners, and we call them the pantsers. So
I like that.
You're either you're flying by the seat of your pants, or you're outlining. So I'm a weird mixture. I usually outline the first half, and then the second half I'm a complete pantser.
Oh,
like
a pantser.
All the way.
I like that word.
I'm a pantser all the way. So I kind of always knew the limitations of Reggie's power, and I wanted to make sure. I don't like those heroines or heroes who, they discover have power and then all of a sudden they're perfect control and they're like Superman. I didn't want her to be that way.
Right.
She has great power, but she also has to learn how to use it. It's just she has a raw ability, but she can't refine it. And part of that process of the next two books are her refining it and becoming, really come into her power the way she should, if that makes sense.
A lot of times with powers or talents, I don't know about powers, but talents, people who have them don't realize that it's anything special about them. And that's probably true for a writer. If you've got this amazing skill to weave a beautiful story or a wonderfully enchanting story, and maybe you don't think it's anything special, but the rest of us do. So is that true for Reggie too? Does she not think that her powers are anything special?
And thank you for thinking writers are special. I appreciate that. Reggie knows. It's not that she doesn't know that her powers are special. Everybody tells her. It's just that for her, growing up the way she did, she wanted to be normal so badly, have the normal mother and the normal father and sort of a normal life, that she has to accept that that's never going to happen, and that it's okay that she's special, and it's okay that she has these inherited abilities from her father, and it's just sort of looking at life in a different perspective than what she had. It's changing your whole wants and your dreams to fit a different picture that you didn't think was the picture you wanted, but maybe it's the one you need.
Rebecca Jaycox is our guest. Her book is called The Other Inheritance, and a copy of the book was sent to us, so I'd like to give it away. If you call right now, I'll put your name on it. It'll be waiting for you here at the studios. In the meantime, the rest of us have to go buy it. Rebecca, do you have a website, and how else do we buy the book?
I do have a website. It's www.rebeccajaycox.com. You can also buy it on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble.
Okay, excellent. Rebecca, thank you for what you're doing, and definitely come back with the next book.
I definitely will. Thank you for having me.
Looking forward to find out what happens to Reggie next. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny and warm today with a hit-or-miss thunderstorm, high 87 to 91. Partly cloudy tonight, low 67 inland, 72 along the coast. Tomorrow, times of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm in spots, mainly during the afternoon hours over the interior. The high 88 to 92.